Hello and welcome to Sunday. It's been a while since we did one of these, but I figured it's about time we get back on the horse. So today I'll be talking about Origami Angels, The Brightest Days. Now, this is a mixtape and distinctively not an EP or an album that came out back in June of this year, I want to say? Yes, June 16th. This mixtape consists of 8 tracks and is only clocking in at a little over 22 minutes. Um, so it's kind of in a weird spot where it's not really long enough to be a traditional album, but it's got more songs than you would find on a traditional EP. So the band decided to go with mixtape. And there's another reason for that. All these songs feel kind of out there. There's not really a kind of cohesiveness to it, except one underlying theme, which we'll get to in a bit. So, it's very different from what you're planning on listening to. So, who are Origami Angel? Well, they're an emo outfit from the Washington, D.C. area. They're more of a Midwest emo, but they've been labeling themselves as a fifth wave emo or a easycore as kind of what their genre is. Fifth wave emo is kind of like the emo revival, modern emo revival, and second wave emo is the Midwest kind of emo, which is traditionally what you hear when you think of classic kind of emo that kind of gets into the math and indie rock kind of thing. But let's not talk about that. They're an emo outfit from the DC area. I haven't really heard of them. I've seen them in my recommendations when I was browsing through the good old Spotify's. You see, for me at least personally, I would see their debut album, Somewhere City, which has become like essential emo, and that's kind of a wild thing to say, where a band that only recently started putting out music, I mean not recently, but that was 2019, has become such a staple in the emo community that it's one of their most popular and a genre defining kind of piece, a love letter to the genre. And since then they've kept on iterating and iterating with the release of a lot of their stuff. Like, people have been super excited about how they've been pushing the genre forward. Music like they had I think it was an EP called Gen 3 that was a love letter to Pokemon, which is after my own heart. They had songs on there called Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and XD Gale of Darkness. 2 of those games I'm playing through right now. And I'm starting Coliseum soon, and probably Sapphire soon, and then eventually XD Gale of Darkness. Anyway, let's talk about this EP. Mixtape. Let's talk about this mixtape. So, there's 8 tracks on here. And it's the weirdest kind of thing. Normally when you think of emo, you think of like screaming, heavy guitars, heavy, incredible riffs, and a lot of that's on here. But we're at a beach. There's a bunch of surfer themes. They actually told a story of how this album art came to be, and this was made by lead singer and I guess frontman Ryland Higi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he made these like origami letters, strung them together with fishing line, and found the one sunny day in February. Like, I think this is a Maryland beach or something like that, some beach on the East Coast, Northeast Coast, and they just like him and his partner at the time, him and his partner, just like had this hanging in the wind and were recording a video, and this is a screen, like a still from that video where it looks good. Like, they spent hours doing that. Hilarious, great stuff, came out wonderfully. Albeit, I think it might be a tiny bit crooked, but that's fine. We're all good there. So, let's talk about the album. Isn't it? Yes. No? No. Mixtape. I need to keep saying mixtape. I'm so used to saying either EP or record or album. It's a record. It's a mixtape. I think it's the first mixtape I've gone through. So, let's talk about that. Um, the first title track, first track, "The Brightest Days." It's super unique. Like a lot of these songs are super unique for an emo outfit. Like hearing a ukulele as the first thing is absurd. There's a lot of ukulele on this mixtape, and it's again super unique. You hear some ocean noises. You hear the ocean breeze. You hear the waves crashing on the shore. I wish you would hear a seagull. That'd be great. Oh my gosh! If surfer emo takes off, and I hope it does, I want there to be seagulls everywhere. Okay, so you hear a choir of voices singing. I forget. It's like, "Where are you, my sunny days I knew as a kid." Uh, off the top of my head, I don't know the lyrics. I hope there's a lyric. I'm just gonna look up the lyrics. But it's a very like love letter to what it felt like to be a kid looking for that brightest day, having those um, just great days that as an adult, they're few and far between. The last track on this record. So here we go. Let's look at the lyrics. Even on the brightest day. So, where are you, my sunny feeling I knew as a kid? Even on the brightest day, I can't see where you've been. This record is pretty much about like that sunshiny feeling you once knew as a child in your youth, and how growing up you become more cynical, more jaded. The world seems like a much darker place than it was when you were such a young kid. When everything you looked at with a when you started looking at things with a fresh set of eyes, when things were brand new to you, when things were very like every experience was a new experience, and the world was filled with joy. There was not like there was no malice in your heart. There was everything was beautiful. Everything was a new experience, and you were looking forward to that. Now, as an adult, you're feeling rather cynical. Everybody's stuck in that grind and the hustle, and especially here in the Northeast, something we'll get to in the next track, I believe. It's just, kind of like the hustle and bustle of daily life with getting back to the grind, and, the brightest days, the ones that you look forward to, are getting further and further apart, where there's always something to do. There's something happening, and something that needs to be focused on. So, let's talk about that. Again, Brightest Days, first track, title track, starts off with the ukulele, ocean sounds, incredible. You get this choir of voices singing those two lines that I just talked to you about, and then it just, immediately hit with, like, Origami Angel is known for, like, at least this mixtape is just heavy, incredibly, like, dense guitar riffs, verging on metal and hard rock, and fitting for an emo outfit. It's really cool seeing those contrast to each other with the ukulele and the just sounds from simple ocean sounds and something so pure and innocent almost. It's just like I love that. We'll talk more about that in one of the tracks later, where we'll get to it. But next track, Thank You, New Jersey. Me, a New Yorker, I have a disdain for Jersey. Every time I drive across the GWB into Jersey, is it the GWB? Every time I drive across the bridge into Jersey, I literally scream as a joke, but also because Jersey. It's a fun joke, but yeah, hold up. I'm like looking at my I just deleted some words here from my article, so I need to go edit those back in. How do I Nope, I need to literally go back and fix this when I done recording. Okay. Yeah, so it's like Thank You, New Jersey. It's a California summer beach song. Like, a lot of these songs feel like they're straight out of the 70s. It's like surfer rock. So they're like, hey, what if we took a California beach song and applied it to the most generic Jersey Beach, Jersey Shore, Atlantic City area? How beaches here in the Northeast are just like not good. A lot of them are private property, overcrowded. It's just not fun. Everybody's just moving with intent. While me being in California last month, everybody's moving a lot slower. It's a lot calmer. Again, hustle and bustle of northeastern life, just very fast. But guitars and drums, outstanding. I could say that for every track on this record. But it's super fun. Everything on this record. You get the old school surf rock, but you also have like a ballad like acoustic bridge that's like, I'm on an island and whatever, snapping along. It's a really cool like intermission. I love how that happens on this record. You'll see that quite a lot, just like modulation, key changes, and tempo changes just dramatically. Third on the record is Picture Frame, a unique back and forth that goes acoustic, emo rock guitars, back and forth. And the main point of this song was that during the pandemic back in summer of 2020, Higi was going through some medical issues, and as a result, he was just like very slow moving for the during that time, being stuck at home. So he just kind of took it slow and just paid homage to those days where he felt he's almost kind of sleepy, and like his voice is very tired in the slower parts of the song. They actually had to speed up the tempo by like 10 BPM for the slower parts to actually make it fit for the record. So really unique there. Fourth up, Kobayashi Maru, My Very Own. It is a song that references Star Trek, something I'm not too familiar with, but this is a direct reference to Wrath of Khan and subsequent films and TV shows that reference the Kobayashi Maru. It is a spaceship, civilian space fuel ship that is used as a training simulation. You're supposed to rescue this ship, but as soon as you rescue it, you need to your crew and your ship is immediately attacked by an overwhelming force or something. It's a lose-lose situation, and the song tries to explain that in such a way where you're feeling kind of depressed, and you're like trying to like validate yourself, be like, hey, I'm an important person, but like in order to validate such a thing, then you wouldn't be depressed. It's like a catch-22 kind of thing, and it's really interesting take because it's just using that depressive kind of like motive like thing, and then just having like one of the most upbeat songs on the record. This has like a ska interlude and like a breakdown at the end, and it's just super different. Now we're on the fifth track, and let's talk about Second Best Friend. It slows down just a tiny bit because Kobayashi Maru is the fastest feeling song on the record. It's just Higi reflecting on what it's like to be a third wheel during the summer that he was as a teen. And it's just them. I think it's like the most pop kind of feeling, rock kind of feeling song on the record, and it's just them showing like, just basically flexing how well they're able to play with the guitar, and it's super cool. Next up is Looking Out, which is the shortest track on the record, and it is Higi at his most vulnerable. This track was a minute long and some amount of seconds. Let me see if I can pull it up on Spotify. Library, scroll down, here we go. It has a runtime, I need to play it. Nope, it's this one. It has a runtime of a minute and 21 seconds on Spotify. So it is a acoustic song. It's played solely with a single ukulele. There's ocean noises, the waves crashing, sea breeze. It's very whimsical. There's like no editing done to it. There is Higi's voice is completely raw. It's unedited. It's recorded on the same track as the ukulele, so it's just a very vulnerable feeling track, and it's like a very, I wouldn't say raw, but it's like it has that kind of vibe. It's just him being very, I guess it's the most, yeah, it's very like contrast to the rest of the album, which has typically been just super heavy guitars and drums, while you do have some ukulele during the rest of the album. It's just mixtape. It's just very, it's very just like out of nowhere. It's just, and it's very fitting of like the emo genre. Just have like, oh, here we go. Here's the most vulnerable this artist has and probably ever will be during like one of the most intense projects that they've worked on. I don't know. Next up, the penultimate track, My PG County Summer. Being from Washington, D.C., Higi has grown up in a historically rich area, which his teachers say it should be a great thing for them, but having people with hate in their hearts and their heads in the mouth descending on the Capitol, parading and marching down with just the most absolute venom in their personality, just screaming and yelling and chanting and, kind of being just not great people to society. It's kind of sucks, but like that's the life he lived. It has some incredibly metal sounding drums and guitars, and the bridge that just goes on for it, like it just repeats the same line over and over again, but it's so fun. Closing out the mixtape would be the track Few and Far Between, which is again super unique. Gami likes to go full circle with their projects, and this is kind of the same thing. It's summing up the record, and everything has been leading up to this. It's how the brightest days are getting further and further apart, and whether it's pouring rain, overcast skies, the day where it's just blue skies, sunshiny day, great feeling, are few and far between. The song ends, and the record ends, closes out with just a bunch of layered vocals and the classic ukulele that we've been hearing throughout this record, along with the ocean sounds, all going away one by one until you're left with just a single voice, single ukulele, and just ocean sounds. The track closes with the opening lines of the record. Where are you, my sunny feeling I knew as a kid? Even on the brightest days, I can't see where you've been. In a super raw tone. I believe it's the last thing that was recorded for this record as well. So it was like almost like symbolic for ending the project. Again, super clean, super fun, great project, and I really love to see where the band goes next. I need to go through the back catalog and just see how they got here, but like everyone says that this band is amazing, and I can see why. My camera only records like 20 minutes at a time at 4K, so we are very quickly approaching that limit. So I think I've said all I need to say about this. It's an incredible record at 22 minutes. Go give it a listen, but for now, that's where I'm gonna call it for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow. And until then, later.